I'm going to read to you, this is chapter 41. Now this is kind of a silly story, but at the time, like, this really fucking worked me up. I'll give you to it right now. A long time ago, I still had faith in people doing the right thing. Unfortunately, reality always intruded on this naive notion. When I was 19, I landed my dream job of working in a music store. It was a chain outlet, but that didn't matter. It was the musical equivalent of working at Wendy's, but I was undeterred. I could listen to music all day, and I got a sweet discount on all the CDs I wanted. It was a great gig, even if I had to dress nicely, which I hated doing. But I did it with relish, because for the first time, with the exception of actually playing music, I was good at something. It may seem stupid, but that made me feel normal. And even for me, normal is sorely needed once in a while. There was one problem. I had long hair. Exactly. That may sound extremely minimal considering today's standards and practices, but even as little as 15 years ago, that was still a very big deal, particularly in the Midwest. I was not dyeing it. I did not have dreadlocks. It was not a crazy hairdo. I just had long hair. What was wrong with that, right? The answer to that question was a lot, apparently. You see, in this chain outlet's regulations, it stated that a male employee's hair could not be past the collar. I could give 3/5 of a red shit about that, but I was not told that or made aware of that when I was hired. So a few months in, the owner showed up to do a walkthrough to see how the store was doing. Without a clue, I introduced myself, because I'm a fucking loudmouth. He took one look at me. Then, without another glance, he turned to his assistant and said, "He needs to cut his hair or he has to go." My manager did his best to defend me, but the damage was done. They fucking fired me. Are you ready for the really fucked up part? Across town, at another store of the same outlet, there was a guy with longer hair than me, and he had been working there for 7 years. 7 fucking years. The manager at that store kept him hidden during inspections. Like some fucking dildo in your drawer. I used him as an example for why I should be allowed to keep my job, but nobody wanted to rock the boat and say anything. I was fired. He kept his job until that chain outlet went out of business. I can only pray he is using his hair to mop out portalettes in Toledo, Ohio. So, when the chips are down, people sold me out to save their jobs, as most people will. Even the other long-haired guy could have said something, but he did nothing. You might be asking me why, after all this time, I'm still a little raw about it. In all honesty, I had not even thought about it until I started writing about it just now. So I guess I am still a little pissed about it. The reason I am pissed about it is because it was not fair, and I am a firm believer in what is fair. If you lose fairly, then you roll with it and you learn what to do better the next time around. But being bent over and fucked like a freak so everyone else can fucking feel better about themselves for another few days is the very essence of why I am still angry about it. Yeah, it should not be that big a deal, seeing as I have achieved quite a bit over the years. Yet it was a temporary job at best, and I learned a lot from swallowing my pride and accepting that people are still uncomfortable in men with long hair. But was it right? I kicked ass at my job, and I was responsible for boosting profits. I was good with the customers, and if I had been anybody else, I would have been in line for a promotion. I knew, even back then, I was not a big fan of compromise. But in the grand scheme of things, it is a trivial matter. But what really should not have mattered was the length of my fucking hair. I was screwed twice, once by the owners and once by my friends. Do you still wonder why I remain mad about it? You give too many people access to your feelings, and you will lose your grip on how to control them. For me, it was a bitter lesson in loyalty and fairness. Thankfully, people have come into my life to give me faith in those two precious qualities, but I still harbor lingering doubts about most people. I guess I always will. That's a little bit from the lady.